Hello, everybody. Welcome to Friday Coffee Chat. New hair, fresh full moon. We're going to be chatting. Let me know that you can hear me. I was rushing around because I'm on a new software this week called Restream, and I could not find my coffee chat intro. I was like, where is the coffee chat? So I had to rush upstairs, re-download it. We made it. I made it. My hair is kind of going crazy. Joshy Corinne is here. Literally had to run up the stairs to make it in time. Audio is great. Thank you so much. The great perhaps. Okay, we are good. We are good. It has been a busy day. It is George's birthday today, which is exciting, and we are celebrating today. Evie also had a dance, kind of her first little dance recital. She went to a dance camp that was like Wicked themed this week, and she got to do a little dance, show off kind of thing. So it was the first time she's ever danced like in front of a group. So that's great, Gail. So that is it was amazing. It was so fun to watch her. They danced to The Wizard and I and the what is this feeling song and Defying Gravity. Oh, and Popular. So they had 4 little dances. They did lyrical dance, they did hip hop and ballet, and then she had like a little thing, like a little wand that she made. It was super cute. We had a fun time. So then we went out to lunch, and we're going to be going out later tonight too. So George says, thank you. Go, Evie. I know, I was so proud of her. And I think she's going to be a natural at dance because her abuelita, George's mom, is obsessed with dancing, has always been a dancer, just comes naturally. So I'm like, okay. She's going to be a little dancer. She seems to be a natural at it. And she was so cute today. It was really, really fun. Yeah, we have had a lot of Broken Chapter Society time this week. So it has been fun to hang out. I think we were live about 6+ hours this week. So here's another hour. I think I will also do some extra lives next week. So if you are not in the Broken Chapter Society, you're missing out. Come join us. We're having a good time in there. It's like, I think it took me a couple of weeks to really get back into the swing of things in terms of, you go on a long vacation, there's so much laundry to do, there's so much cleaning, there's so many things. Then we had a 4th of July party with our neighbors last weekend, and it's just been a lot of kind of get back on track. But I feel renewed energy, renewed excitement for my goals in a way that I haven't probably in over a year. And so I figured now is the perfect time to get back to 6 months for life. So I am going to talk a little bit about that today. I even made some little slides because it's been a while since we did a little slideshow. So we will do that. I also was going to pull up, I don't have my phone in here, so I'll just do it on my computer. I was going to pull up Discord because there are a lot of questions that have been sitting there for a while. So we will just, if I can get it to pull up, hopefully. I don't know. Where'd it go? It's not coming. Oh, thank you. Lovely top. This color is different from the colors that I usually get. So this was from Surf Style in Orange Beach, Alabama. It says good days, good vibes. So that is fun. I don't know. My Discord will not come up. Where's it hiding? Sometimes it's like behind something, but I don't see it. You guys, I don't know. Maybe if George hears this, he'll bring me my phone so I can check the Discord, because there are so many questions that have been coming up, and I want to make sure to answer them. I had hoped to answer them last week, but did not ever get a chance to do it. So, Sarah says, I missed all the BCS lives because I was out of town. Are there replays? They are. They're just live streams like this. So anytime I do a live stream, it just exists as a replay on the channel. So feel free to go do that. So we talked about this a little bit in the BCS 6 months for or in the full moon kind of stream yesterday, but I will revisit it, especially because we always are kind of bringing in new people. This is, I would say, kind of like a life initiative that I came up with maybe 4 years ago, which is really just this idea that if you focus in on a few key areas of your life, like really making foundational changes to some things that you wanna change, you can turn the trajectory of your whole life around in 6 months. And, I know that the biggest challenge when it comes to, like, change your life in 6 months, there's a few big challenges, but one is that we try to do too much. We take on 20 different things like, "Oh, I'm gonna completely revamp my entire house, my entire health, my entire work ethic." Like, I'm gonna be super disciplined for the next 6 months or the next year or whatever. And that ends up, for most of us, not being very sustainable. But at the same time, it is worthwhile to make any kind of progress on making our lives better or bringing more joy into our lives or anything like that. So, you know, they there's my little 13-year-old, except he's taller than me now. Thank you, Andrew. He's so tall, you guys. It's ridiculous. His hair is also very long. Uh, oh, I have a missed call from George because he was trying to find my phone. I love that. It's so fun. Oh, you know what? The live stream, I have to turn that on specifically. So I might be able to go in and turn it back on. So thank you for letting me know that. Um, All right, let's see where the coffee chat questions are. So we'll get to some of those as well, so we can kind of answer those. But the challenges that come with like any sort of change your life in 6 months are that like we try to tackle too many things because it is difficult to just like I think the for those of us that are all in, all or nothing kind of people, the challenge is that we want to wake up tomorrow and be different. It's like once we allow ourselves to become aware of the things we want to change in our lives, we want to just change it all instantly. And that is very difficult to do because you can change it for a couple days, but your life is going to be your life. There's still going to be illnesses. You're still going to have, the same old habits that you had. And it's really hard to implement 20 different habits all at once. But I also feel for many of us, the other challenge is that if you start too slow, you don't see enough momentum. And then it's kind of like, heck, what's the point? So then you don't actually start moving forward because it's like, well, I changed XYZ 6 months ago and I've never seen any difference. Like, okay, I'm writing every day, but I'm not actually finishing any books, right? And so I think part of the benefit of saying, okay, I'm going to make a declaration, I'm going to make some things in my life different over the next 6 months is really about going to the foundation of what is it that you want to change and what is the thing that is going to have the biggest impact on your whole life, right? And then just trying to have some kind of way of every day waking up and remembering the changes that you want to create. Also, I think it can be really helpful to have a moment where every single day you take stock of the changes you have made because most of us are notorious for not actually giving ourselves credit for all the ways that we have improved our lives because like there is a version of me out there 10, 20 years ago that would just be floored at the life that I'm living right now. I'm trying to think who I was telling this to the other day. I was telling it to a friend of mine, but now I can't remember who I was talking to, that I had a very clear summer once 20-ish years ago where I was waiting tables. I was not super happy in my life in general. I was kind of in a self-sabotage spiral. And I remember so clearly, I might probably have mentioned this before because it's such a pivotal moment for my life that I was living in Nashville, it was probably 100 degrees outside, 95 degrees outside, and I'm laying in bed on a Saturday morning, and I was waiting tables, but I had the day off, and it was like, oh, a rare Saturday that I have the day off, and I hear the guy outside pulling up, turning off my power. Everything goes off. The air conditioning goes off, the refrigerator goes off, and I'm just thinking, "Oh my gosh, I was in self-sabotage mode, but I also did not have abundance. I didn't have savings. I was often going to those kind of like check into cash places where you would write a check and they would forward you money, and then you would have to go in every week and pay it. Our TV was rented. This is when I was living with my ex-husband, and I remember so clearly that day that they turned off the power, and I thought, "I'm gonna have to get up and drive to the restaurant and beg somebody to let me have the night so that I can survive, because otherwise, we're gonna lose everything in our fridge. I don't have any money right now to pay for the power. This is gonna suck because you can't live in 95-degree heat with no air conditioning, no hot water, nothing." So here was my like rare day off. I was exhausted, had to go in and beg for a shift. And I did for the next 5 days, have to beg for shifts, just so I could get my power back on and hustle for the money. Right. And sometimes it is easy as I'm living in my daily life right now to forget that how far I have come from that moment, right? And every single one of us, even if you're in a low point in your life right now, every single one of us has something we can point to in our lives that we say, "I overcame that. I'm not in that anymore. Life has changed." And like even if life is not like I may not be the perfect person because I never will be, man, there are ways that I can point to the past and say, "Look how far I've come." I don't have like I have air conditioning in my very beautiful dream house right now. Um, yeah, hitting rock bottom. That for me was a rock bottom moment in so many ways. And it spurred though, like, I can be grateful for that moment because I remember just thinking, "I can't live like this anymore. I just can't live like this anymore." And many of those moments in my life have led to 6 months of extraordinary change that have eventually led me to somebody who has built 2 businesses to over 7 figures and big communities and, having a dream house, having a family after infertility. Like, I have made significant changes, but it's human nature that we always want to keep growing. And I am a growing kind of person. And I think you guys that are all here for coffee chats are growing kind of people too, that you want to make your life better. You want to be more joyful. You want to be more present. And I thankfully am not in a rock bottom moment by any means, but I also am at a point in my life where I can feel the pull. Like we've talked about this a little bit before, about the whispers. Like Oprah Winfrey talks about this too, that like your intuition will guide you in whispers and then eventually it will become shouts, if not shoves in the right direction. Right. And I think that if we listen to the whispers that keep saying, "You can't live like this anymore. You shouldn't settle for that anymore. Things have got to change. This isn't who you are anymore." If we listen to those whispers and we take action, we can have the most magical things happen in our lives. And so, whether you're sitting here watching this and you're in a moment of rock bottom, which you are not alone, we have all been there. And, rock bottom can mean shame. It can mean hardship. It can mean trauma. It can mean I'm just completely stuck and I don't know where to go. So if you are in that moment, just know that we are all wrapping our arms around you because that is not a fun place to be. But the exciting thing is that it can be the most transformative opportunity to become like a person that you only ever dreamed of, right? And, oh, Kate, I feel this too. It is hard being a growing kind of person. My husband can feel content and just enjoy his life, but I always have to be in motion towards something. And I feel that. I do feel that because there are just moments where you can think, "Can I just stand still for a little bit? Can I just love myself as I am?" And the truth is, you can. Like, you are fine. You are good. But also, you are called to be more. And that is just certain kind of people are people who are always in the growth mindset and we need it to feed our souls. But that does not mean that you cannot take a break, which is sort of what I have done. And when we talk about the universe whispering and then shouting and then saying like, "Okay, sit down and be quiet for a little while. That is very much what I was going through when it comes to like post spooktacular, pushing myself really hard to make Spooktacular as magical as possible after a really tough year of travel, and then trying to move into Rough Draft Challenge and more travel and speaking engagements and things like that, and finishing the book. I just pushed myself too hard. And everything that came out of that was wonderful. I'm proud of the work that I did, but man, my body was just like, we're done for a little bit. Also, I think finishing the book made me realize how much I miss that feeling of really pouring my heart into characters and putting myself out there. And it's like after years of kind of putting a lot of my emphasis of my work time on heart breathings, it's like, okay, now I'm ready to get back to a better balance between the two. And how do I do that? And then, especially, like, how do I do that with the team that I have in transition? So, figuring out that balance piece. And I wanted to do it right away, like fresh start energy, January 1st, and it just didn't work out. And so, I had planned last year to do Project 48. Like, we had kind of talked about this. I have talked about 6 months for life multiple times. And there have always been some good things that have come out of this idea of 6 months for life. And 6 months for life, for clarity, is this idea of saying, for the next 6 months, I'm going to focus on changing some fundamental foundational things about the way I behave or my habits or the mindset that I have, so that I can make my like a better foundation for the rest of my life. And even though I have tried this initiative and talked about it and shared it here on YouTube multiple times, I've never really gone all in with it. I feel like it's very much stops and starts, right? It's like, okay, I'm going to gear up, I'm going to set up the planner, and then I'm going to spend a month working on it, and then life calls me back, and it didn't work out. And I think sometimes for me, I talked about this yesterday, so I apologize to those of you that were there to talk through it again. But sometimes it feels like, oh, I don't want to share that I'm doing this again, because there's a part of me that feels like cringe about it, because here I am yet again saying I'm going to do this thing that I've never followed through with in the past. But I'm going to do it anyway, because eventually it's going to work and it's going to be transformative. And I'm just, I stops and starts should never stop us from starting again. And so many instances in my life, I have stopped and started, stopped and started, stopped and started, and then boom, hit the lightning moment where it was just everything coming together. And I have made changes. And every time I have started the process of 6 months for life or 75 cute or any kind of determination that I'm going to follow through with some goals, even just HP90, I have made progress, even if it's not the biggest progress. I know Joshi Corinne, who is here now, has lots of videos on her channel about like gamifying her life, going after goals, spending time working towards thing. And when she was talking about her goals recently, she said something along the lines of, "It's one of those situations where we're going to shoot for the moon, and even if we don't hit it, we land among the stars," right? That old saying. And it is, oh yes, 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 Alexandra, exactly. You are looking for progress, not perfection. And yes, every time you make a change, you are getting stronger. So I am going to release myself from any sort of past guilt or frustration at not 100% following through. And instead, I'm going to be excited about another opportunity to try, because for me, yes, as George says, without challenges, there's no adventure. It's so true. Um, where I am really focusing and thinking right now is, even though we're past the halfway point of the year, for me, my birthday is January 23rd. So July 23rd is my halfway point. And it was interesting because somebody on the coffee chat yesterday, we were doing a full moon like chat in the BCS, said that their birthday is July 23rd. So my beginning of the 6 months is their end of the 6 month. Like our birthdays are mirrors of each other, exactly 6 months apart. And so I'm going to tell you kind of my plans and how I'm structuring this for this particular 6 months for life, and I'm calling it now Project 49 because Project 48 was to do 6 months of preparing for my 48th birthday, and I did make some progress, but mostly ended up sick and just rested. Um, so now that I have come back from this vacation and I feel like my energy is much more clear and I feel more clarity about the kind of person I wanna be and the kind of people I wanna bring onto my team and the way that I want to exist and how much like, I spent so much good present being there with my family connection time. I also am deepening some of my friendships, even with people here in this community. I feel like we're deepening our connections, and that will come up as well. So I'm going to share with you the 6 kind of pillars that I'm going to be focusing on, and then I will invite you to join me if you would like to. We have inside our Sarra Cannon's Coven Discord server, we have, I believe, a 6 months for life. If not, it got changed. But I think we do. Yes, there's a 6 months for life section, and it's separated out into 3 channels if you wanna come join us. So one is just called 6 months for life. The second channel is called food and diet because I wanna always be aware and empathetic that for some people, discussion about food and dieting can be dangerous or triggering. So that discussion is like weight loss or anything like that is in a separate channel. So the main 6 months for life will be everything but food and diet and weight loss. And then you've got manifesting scripting challenge, which is something that we were doing for a while where every morning we were scripting, which is the idea of basically writing. It's kind of interesting because George and I just started watching last night. We finished Dead Man Wonderland and we started watching an anime called Future Diary. And it's really actually about a kid that gets a phone that he's been keeping his diary on, but it gets changed to a future diary. So he's being told the future. Um, oh yeah, that's right. Our birthdays are so close together. Come join me. And even if you're like, I'm not going to do it for 6 months, I'm just going to do it through January 1st, you'll get, close to 6 months because it's only the 11th so far of July. But the manifesting scripting one is kind of like a future diary. It's kind of like saying, I am going to write a script, like a letter or a journal entry as if this has already happened. Like, for example, if one of my dream life things is to have $1 million in the bank and a pool out back, then I would say, oh, it was so nice this morning to walk out by the pool and I enjoyed swimming with the kids. And then I got a call from my accountant saying that I had just hit $1 million. Like, I don't know, that sounds so silly, but that would be the kind of scripting that you would do. Or like, oh, I couldn't believe I got a call that's saying that Amazon's going to put my book on a on a billboard in Times Square. Yay, look at all the January birthdays. We've got the 15th, the 14th on for Candace and the 26th for Yay Yuko. Chris is the 17th. Oh, January 28th is my sister Chris's birthday too. So, well, January birthdays, welcome to apply and come join us, but also just anytime because we are just past the 6 months, to the beginning of the year, but you can join us in. Plus, I kind of like it not ending on December 31st. It's kind of cool for it to be like, it's going to end in January, you know, yeah, exactly. Note to self, get an accountant so that one day I can get the call that, "Hey, you've got $1 million in your bank account. You might wanna invest some of that." That would be kind of fun to have. I'm 9 months after January. Can I celebrate too? Of course, of course. Anyone can. Yeah, Andy, it says, she's still scripting. Oh my gosh, what just happened to that? I know. What if we get to announce a watch party for the TV show? Oh, I'm so excited for that. So the idea of scripting is just kind of writing a journal as if these things were already happening to you, which can get into your subconscious mind to say, "Oh, these things are possible for me." And we've talked before about this idea of kind of having a thermostat of what you and your subconscious mind will allow you to have and to hold. And a lot of times, if you are like me and you have found that when you hit a certain level of success, you just inexplicably start to sabotage or you don't show up or you don't make the call. So, for example, here's an example, not from my own life, but just an example of what might happen if you self sabotage. So, one example would be you've been trying to get a new job and your dream job would be teaching at this one specific school district. That school district calls you up and says, "We wanna do an interview," and you just never call them back. That would be like a major self-sabotage, right? And maybe you don't even know why it's so hard for you to pick up the phone and say, "Yes, I'll show up for that interview." But there's something about that level of success that your subconscious mind thinks you don't deserve that, or that you are scared of that level of success, or you're afraid that if you were to get it, you would mess it up, or that somehow that level of success will make other people think that you're too much, or that you're, "Oh, yay, I'm so glad you got The Big Leap." That is one of the big books, right, that can really help if you're experience those upper limit kind of problems. That book can certainly help. Um, but we all have this sort of thermostat where once we hit, and this is all happening subconsciously, that when we hit this point that we never thought was really possible, even if we've dreamed of it and we can visualize it, there's some part of us that says, "Ooh, that's not for you. You're not good enough for that. Like that's too much." You begin to self-sabotage it. Um, yeah, exactly. It's like literally me right now. Every time I hit a new lowest weight, I eat like crap for 3 days. The mind is afraid of my progress. It's like the minute you like if you were going for 1,000 subscribers on YouTube, the minute you start to feel it's possible, maybe you stop posting. There's all kinds of things. Or for some of you, maybe it's like you've been working on a book for a long time, and the closer you get to actually finishing it, the more you start feeling distracted to work on something different. And it's like, why can't I ever just finish this book? Well, there's this upper limit thing that can happen where we just hit a temperature, a success level that doesn't feel safe or doesn't feel comfortable for some reason. If you are in the BCS and you are feeling this, go watch yesterday's live stream because it was a lot about this. Oh, I love that. Your favorite uncle, your favorite cousin, and your best friend are all January 23rd. I love that. Oh, K Journey says, "If I let myself believe I can have it, then I'll get so hurt when I don't because I'm not good enough." Yes, yes, yes. So it's like that, yeah, imposter syndrome. So Bree is up. Did hear you say you're up for potentially being on a reality TV show? It's like once our reality begins to expand beyond what we feel is safe in some way, there can be that feeling of, even if we don't want it, self-sabotage, and that sabotage can break our heart sometimes, right? And so, sometimes that's why there's stops and starts. We're like, "Oh, I wanna make this change." You go to make the change, you hit your upper limit, you self-sabotage. So, it's okay. You're in good company. We all face this together, but there is this feeling of like, okay, for me, as I am gonna go over these ideas for 6 months, I need to be working on my mindset in conjunction with the actual actions that I'm taking so that when I hit or get closer to a goal, I don't sabotage it. And that takes work because we have to be aware of what's going on in our heads at all times. And when life is really busy, it gets really difficult to be like, okay, well, let me also work on my inner world when I've got money to make and this to do and this, dance class to go to. It can be really, really tough. Um, Ooh, this is good. Amazing mental health resource here on YouTube called Healthy Gamer Gigi that I watch when I feel like I don't understand myself. Thank you for that recommendation. The challenge for me is identifying with the new me. I don't know who this new person is. It must not be me. So let me go back to my old ways. The other person makes me uncomfortable. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense too, because it feels so foreign. It's like this isn't safe, right? And our subconscious mind will protect us. And people here have mentioned many times parts work and inner child work, and I have been doing that through therapy, and it is making a difference. But there's only so much we can cover in an hour. But I'm gonna share with you guys this sort of the 6 pillars that I'm gonna be working on. And if you want to start kind of thinking about this for yourself, I can share this Canva slides too, if anybody wants it to go in and like make a copy of it and change this for yourself. But for me, the 6 pillars that I'm going to focus on are health, So movement, nutrition, hydration, sleep, and supporting your body with love. That kind of is what I consider under the health umbrella. Um, then let me go over here. Mindset. And I will say, to participate, you don't have to focus on all of these or any of these. You could focus on one, you could focus on two, you could focus on two of these and one of your own. I'm just kind of giving you examples that might kind of start your brain working. So, mindset is my second one that I'm thinking about: cultivating positive self talk, mental resilience, joy, and a growth mindset. Number 3 is environment. So creating spaces that support your goals, like decluttering, beautifying, designing a digital environment that energizes you. So like I am going to be creating a Notion template or a Notion setup for 6 months for life for me for project 49. So that will be part of my environment is that connection. So this is nurturing relationships that uplift you, building deeper connections with family, friends, community, and yourself. It also might mean cutting out relationships that are toxic for you or that are hurtful for you right now, and really building good, positive connections that encourage you. Number 4 is creativity, which is engaging in activities that light you up, like creative projects, meaningful work, and hobbies that connect you to your why. And your why is basically like your purpose in life, why this all matters to you, why you want to change. And then, oh, this is actually, that was 5, and this is 6, is abundance, building habits and mindsets that welcome abundance in all forms. So this could be money, like wealth, time, freedom. It could be generosity and giving more, reducing financial stress, and aligning your resources with your goals. So this is a lot of where these 6 pieces are a focus are going to be for me. So, one of the first things that I recommend doing, if you can pick your own, pillars, your own sort of pieces of it that you want to do, but I recommend that you pick the areas that you want to change in and then do a bit of a life audit where you say, where am I in relation to these things right now? So, for health right now, um, I think I'm kind of a 4. Like, I'm not dead. I'm not unhealthy completely, but I am in terms of 0 to 10, in terms of where I really want to be and where I see the potential for my health, I would say I'm a 4. Like, I don't probably drink enough water. I'm not really taking care of my hydration. Have sleep apnea and I'm not really doing everything I can to help. I don't move my body enough. Like, I really need work here. Mindset, I think, is a 6. I'm in therapy. I'm doing things to help my mental health, but I want to get out more. So it's not perfect, but it's better. Environment also, like, I love my home, but I have too much stuff and things get cluttered really easily, and I don't have systems in place to really keep it clean. And in general, we have a clean home, but my spaces tend to get cluttered really clear, like quickly. So beside my bed, in my offices, and in my bathroom, like where my makeup is, and in my closet, those kind of areas are always cluttered. Connection, I feel like, is my biggest win. I have really great friends. I have a really great relationship with my husband and my kids, and I want to keep nurturing all of that. Creativity is probably my lowest point because I just have been drained of so much energy by doing things that were not feeding my creativity and like betraying my own boundaries when it comes to certain things and not really lighting myself up the way that I want. And then abundance is also a 6, I would say. Like, I really want to build in more abundance mindset and be more and more comfortable with wealth and abundance. Plus, I consider abundance time freedom, and I think I have too much on my plate. So I want to pull some things off. So, I kind of created this little roadmap. I was having fun in Canva earlier. So phase 1, this is where I'm going to be over the next couple of days. Determine your objectives. So performing that life audit, figuring out where am I now and where do I want to be by the end of the year or by January or by my 49th birthday. So you can set your own parameters. If you don't want to do 6 months and your birthday is in March, you could do just where do I want to be by my next birthday? And then you have 8 months to work on it. which of the 6 areas do you wanna focus on, or do you wanna create your own, or do you wanna just pick one that's gonna make the biggest impact? And then set some milestones you wanna achieve along the way. So I'll show you an example of that, like starting with something really easy and then leading up to the end result that you want to have. Phase 2 is setting up your systems for tracking and staying motivated. So, like, where and how will you track or document your progress? Who's gonna help keep you accountable? Like, are you gonna hang out with us in Discord? What is your emergency plan? So this is something that we did in Bright Line Eating when we said, um, if you feel like you want to go off your plan, then what's your emergency plan? It's like Alcoholics Anonymous, right? If they feel like they want to drink, they usually have a sponsor or someone that they can call and say, help talk me down from this, right? So, who's your accountability people? What's your emergency plan if you get off track? How are you going to get back started? So, let's say you have a goal that you're going to work out every day and start moving your body. And then you have like a whole week where you're just a potato and you don't work out. Like, do you have some kind of system in place for calling your friend and saying, walk with me tomorrow morning? Anything like that. You can kind of set those things up in advance. Phase 3 is to create your starting plan. So when I talk about, I want to go all, ooh, sorry, I just hit my thing. I just apologize to my microphone, but it's okay. When I talk about going all in this time, it doesn't mean I'm going to go all in and transform all 6 areas of my life. It just means that I'm going to really stick to it for 6 months. And I may not have like massive change in all 6 areas, but I do wanna have at least one small habit that I start with, and I wanna stick with it for 6 months without giving up on myself. That's what I mean by going all in, not being all or nothing. Like, I'm gonna wake up on July 23rd and, like, have the perfect diet and work out and get up at 5 a.m. Like, I know that doesn't work for me, so I am gonna just going all in is creating a plan and not giving up on myself. So what is the easiest or most sustainable place that you can start from? Or what will make the biggest impact the fastest? So, with Dave Ramsey's debt payoff stuff, there's an idea of a debt snowball where you start not with the biggest debt, but you start with the smallest debt because it's the one you can pay off the fastest. And that gives you a little bit of a confidence boost to say, I did it. I did something. I created a habit. I created a new habit. I paid something off. I can see some kind of result. Because if we pick the hardest thing, the least sustainable thing, like I'm going to go from, let's say you currently are having trouble sleeping at night and you stay up till 3 a.m. scrolling on your phone. The hardest thing in the world would be, I'm going to start to go to bed at 9 p.m. and get up at 4 in the morning and start working out. Like, that would be so difficult. However, the easiest or most sustainable thing that's going to make a big impact is I'm going to start going to bed at midnight and I'm going to turn my phone off. Right? Like, that would be huge. Even if you sleep in or whatever, that would be really, really big, but it's not so drastic. You're not saying, I'm gonna go to bed at 8, right? But it's something that you can start to see an impact from pretty quickly. And then the idea of the debt snowball is you pay off the easiest one first, and then you start working on what's the thing that has the highest interest rate. And so this is kind of what we're doing when we are picking any of these areas of our life, is like, what's the thing that's going to have the biggest impact? What's the biggest drain on my confidence? What's the biggest drain on my joy? Like, if you're going through depression or you're really feeling like you're in a rock bottom or a low point, if you can look at some of these areas of your life and say, what feels really easy to me that I feel like I can do, that I will see some kind of result from? And if you're like, I really don't know what that is, feel free to come into Discord and we can help you with it, right? We can all start kind of brainstorming as a group, and we can start thinking about what's going to make an impact. And I think that can make a big difference. And then create a starting plan that helps you build confidence rather than, that demoralizing thing of like, I'm going to have this 23-point checklist and it's all crap by the second day, right? Phase 4 is to actually take action. So getting started on the first piece of your plan, don't give up. If you fall off track or discover, okay, this is too hard, 6 a.m. was too unrealistic. Then you just change it and you don't feel guilt about it. You say, let's try 6:30, and imagine that instead of it being something where you have to be perfect, it's an experiment. And even small micro changes can add up to big results over time. So, to give you examples for myself, so going back to those 6 things, health, for me, I want to see these results, not just immediately, but over like by the time my birthday hits. So, was just tested for my A1C, which is a blood test marker testing for diabetes. And I did not have diabetes, but I also did not have a normal blood count. I am high, a little bit higher on the higher side of pre-diabetes. So higher than I was a year ago. So my goal is, instead of going worse towards diabetes, I want to go toward normal. And I don't know if I can actually get it to normal in 6 months, but I feel like I can. So A1C to normal, reduce inflammation in my body and how I feel, and then feel more rested and have more high energy days. So these are the things, the outcomes I want to see. And health is the number one place that I'm going to focus over the next 6 months because I feel like it's such a foundational thing for me and for all of us that this is where I will see the biggest impact, because reducing inflammation, feeling more rested will make me feel more confident and will make me feel more energetic. And then I will have more clarity of mind and more energy to write and be more, um, more present with my family and more, active and all of that. So the things that I'm going to do to see those results, and again, this is not like day one, this is at some point over the 6 months, I'm going to implement these things. I have a PCOS 30-day meal plan that I had purchased like a year ago. I'm going to start that. I'm going to actually do it. I also started but didn't finish the Zombies Run 5K training. So I'm going to do that. That gets you moving, but it's not super hard. It's mostly walking on the treadmill with a little bit of running in between. And I'm going to try 60 ounces of water per day. I want to increase that over time, but that's kind of where I'm going to start. I'm already getting 7 to 8 hours of sleep most nights, so I just want to make that more consistent. And I want to take my supplements every day. And like I said, this is not stuff I hope to implement right on July 31st or 23rd. This will be stuff that I can implement as let's say I have a whole week where I'm like, I took my supplements and I got 8 hours of sleep and I did pretty good with my water. Let's see if I can start the 5K now. And that might be 3 weeks from now. It might be 3 months from now, but it will all be things that I can check off over time. When it comes to my mindset, which is that cultivation of self-talk and things like that, the results I want to see are to build my confidence, experience less anxiety, and to bust through some of these limiting beliefs that I have discovered through therapy and through some journaling that I did for the full moon. So the mindset actions I want to take are outside walks twice a week, continuing with my weekly parts work therapy and energy work therapy, and daily journaling and meditation. And you can see here multiple times I have um I have added things to this list that I'm already doing. And that is part of the confidence. Like, I already do daily journaling and meditation. I just want to do, like, I'm doing the journaling. I'm not always doing the meditation. So now I can kind of add that on. This isn't a course. This is just, it's just, it's an initiative and anyone can join in. I'll share these slides on Facebook and Discord, and I'll put them in the description for anyone afterward. Okay, environment are my spaces. So I want to declutter my spaces and beautify them. So one of the things I want to do is declutter room by room. And that, I think at this point, it's just about getting rid of things that I no longer use and making sure everything has a place. There are a lot of places in my house that already feel good in this way. And I just want to take those places I mentioned and declutter them. I also want to decorate the front porch. We have a couple of things going on with our front porch. One is that there are these swallows or sparrows. They might be barn swallows that have literally built a nest on the side of our house by the porch. And so there's all this bird poop on the front porch. And so we're gonna clean all that up. Like, we don't wanna get rid there's little babies in that nest. They're gonna stay there, but we're gonna clean up some things. We're gonna put something underneath where the nest is to catch the poop. I'm going to clean the windows, and this is something we can literally just do this weekend because I just bought some stuff on Amazon Prime Day, that are gonna decorate. So I will share that process. And that is one of those things that I can do literally tomorrow to already start building confidence, and it won't take long. I also for the longest time, I have this egg chair on my back porch that I loved to read in, but it has gotten like spider webs and things like that through the winter, and I haven't cleaned it this year. So I'm gonna strip everything off that egg chair and clean it up so that I have a nice space to hang out on the back porch. And then also, our family hangs out all the time in our game room. And so getting that cleaned up and decluttered. And again, some of this I can do this weekend, some of it might happen until, until 6 months from now, 3 months from now, and that's okay, but it'll be something fun to kinda check off once it's done. I also would love to institute a nightly cleaning routine. Let me know if you do this, but I have thought for the longest time that it would be fun to do or not fun, but super helpful just to have like 15-minute timer. We put on a playlist and everybody in the house picks an area and cleans up at night. This has worked so well for so many other people, and I think it would be really good to have that nightly reset, and I would like to implement that at some point in the next 6 months. Connection, like I said, this is already a really good one for me, but I wanna continue to be really present with my kids and husband. A big problem that I have is because my work is not like a 9 to 5 and it's just anytime all the time, George will be talking to me and I'm answering somebody's email, right? And then he'll say, "Did you hear me?" It's like, "Nope." And I just need to be more present and not have that happen anymore because eventually that will erode our relationships, especially here inside our home. And then continuing to spend more time with friends. Like I've been doing Zoom calls with some of my friends. It's been super fun and I want to keep nurturing that stuff. So the actions are to establish more work hours. Like I specifically need to do this and say, after this time, I'm just not going to answer emails. Like nobody will be mad. It's just a habit I need to get into. Re-establishing family game nights, which is something we used to do, like a Minecraft server, Roblox games, just 15 minutes or so. And more friend Zoom calls. I'm already doing it. Let's keep doing it. Creativity, I really wanna focus on writing daily and loving my books again, instead of feeling like I've definitely fallen into this thing where it's not that I don't love my books, it's just that I feel so guilty about how long it has taken me to finish series that sometimes when I sit down to write, all I feel is guilt and disappointment in myself, and I really this goes back to not just creativity, but also to mindset. Like someone said earlier, the first 3 things will help the last 3 things, which is absolutely true. Like all of these will play in. Like I will feel more creative if my space is better. I will feel more creative if I have a clearer mind and move my body more often, things like that. Evie heard that and is making plans. She probably already has a list of games she wants to play. Um, I I wanna love my books again and be excited instead of feeling disappointed. I wanna be publishing regularly again, and I just want that love and passion for my stories to come back, um, and feeling creative instead of drained. That'll be a big win if I can feel that way in January. So the things I wanna do action-wise are establishing a daily writing routine, actively refilling my well, and reducing the activities that drain me. I know I'm kind of rushing through, but I will share this. Abundance is the final one, and so I have an amount of money that I would like to invest by my birthday because I want to start investing more. And then I want to pay off one of our cars. I want to hire a new team member by January. And I want to spend in general, just spend less money and savor the things that I have more and the experiences that we have more and just buy less because I have already too much stuff. And it doesn't mean I won't buy anything, but I only want to buy things that I really have thought about, and I wanna especially reduce any impulse spending. And so some of the things I thought we might do are creating a family budget and learning more about investing. I really don't know a lot about investments, and so I'd like to learn more. So there are some like free webinars that I've not purchased in the past, but like signed up for in the past that I have never watched. So I want to do that. I do also want to create some abundance affirmations and put them on my vision board. And I have an abundance mindset course that I purchased probably 2 years ago, and I want to finish it. I want to actually listen to all the course stuff that goes in it. So that that is kind of my plan of where I'm going to start. And one of the first things I know that I have already started working on is a a vision board, because this is just always where I start. And I think one of the most helpful things that when I talk about doing my daily meditation and journaling as part of my mindset and growth work, it's so helpful for me to have a vision board of these things. So I'm probably going to take each of those 6 buckets and come up with 2 or 3 photos that represent the change I want to make in those areas of my life, put them on a vision board with the words and the results I want to see, and then meditate on it in the morning and be thinking, okay, let me remind myself that this is what I'm working toward. Because one of the biggest enemies to actually making a change in your life is when you forget what you're working toward and you just allow life to sweep you up in the everyday stress, right? Because really that is a big part of the core of 6 months for life is over the next 6 months, I am making a commitment to wake myself up from the day-to-day grind and say, "You're this is your one and precious life, Sarah. Wake up and make it something that you really want to live." Like, stop just going through the motions. Stop forgetting how blessed you are and go after your dreams. Let's do this. Not in a way that feels like pressure, but in a way that feels exciting for the future that I'm trying to create for myself. But there's like a remembering that needs to happen every day, or over time, you just fall back into old patterns over and over and over again. And I don't want to do that anymore. So some of that we can do together, connections. Some of it we can put into journaling, create, yeah, I know. I'm sorry, Starla. I'm going so fast. I'm like, how is it 3:54? I didn't get to the Discord questions at all. I do want to get some of those cleared out though, because if you guys didn't see this HardyCon VIP mug says plotting my next moves, which I feel like is perfect because that's what we're doing 6 months for life, plotting our next moves. We're plotting out our own heroine's journey and how we're going to become increasingly more connected so that we can crush down any enemies of our lives and become the people that we know we were meant to be. I'm excited for it. I I feel like I can see how everything over the past couple of years has been leading me toward an up level, another like balance in terms of the books that I'm writing and the things I want to do. And I'm ready to just step into that and have fun with it. It's like the Broken Chapter Society, the books I want to write, some of the new courses I want to create. It's like I have just been going through the motions so much, and I'm just ready now to say, okay, I'm ready for the next level of Sarah, and I'm excited to get it done. And I am going to, for this, instead of setting up, I have this Hello Kitty planner. Raise your hand if you watched. Oh yeah, that's true. I haven't mentioned that yet. Raise your hand if you watched yesterday's hour and 20-minute planner lineup. I mentioned that I have a Hello Kitty Erin Condren planner that I'm using for meal planning. That was kind of like my Project 48 planner. I'm still going to keep my meal planning in there, but I am also going to be setting up a Notion template that I purchased from Etsy with all of these areas of life. So I will share that with you guys if I get it done. Next week, I will actually not be live because I will be in Phoenix. But if you are in the Phoenix area, then come hang out with me for lunch next Wednesday. I will be in Phoenix, Scottsdale from Wednesday to next Sunday. And so I will not have a coffee chat next week. almost forgot about that, but I will hopefully share my Notion the week after that if you guys want to join in. So George mentioned Habitica. There is an app, I'm sure that it's available everywhere, that's called Habitica. And if you are interested in or get motivated at all by sort of gamification of habits, Habitica is like that. It's kind of like if you've ever done For the Words, which is a gamification of writing stuff. This is gamification of your habits, and you can create friends. So if you guys want to go onto Discord and share your usernames and stuff like that, but basically you can put down all of your habits that you want to have that you can track every day, and you get points and you get to spend them on armor and like cool decorations for your character's avatar. And you can go on quests with your friends. And then the more habits you check off, the more you defeat the enemies. George and I have been doing this for 75 Cute, and it has been very helpful. So keeping on with that could be helpful. So anybody like Carrie, if you're in Phoenix, Scottsdale area, we are going to be meeting up for lunch on Wednesday around 12:30 Scottsdale time. So if you send me an email anywhere, Sarra@sarracannon.com or Sarra@heartbreathings.com, I will send you the address of where we're going to be. I know we've got at least 3 or 4 people are coming, so the more the merrier. I would love to have you there. And yeah, that's it, you guys. I will see. We have 2 minutes. I'm going to see if I can answer at least a couple questions because they've been sitting here since May. Um, A couple of them are easy. So Allie had said, I have a question about writing. I have trouble with the beginning. I don't know how to actually begin the story like the first line. I feel like I'm always super linear and it's not super interesting. I'm writing suspense/horror fan fiction. Any ideas? When it comes to first lines, you want something that people will remember that has impact to it, almost like a shock sometimes. Like I mentioned this the other day that the first line of A Mirror of Shadows is the last thing my mother ever did was beg me to run. And that immediately makes you go, "Oh my gosh, what's happening?" It pulls you into the action. It makes you immediately be like, "What happened?" Right? Um, so sometimes that first line doesn't come until you've written the whole book, and then you go back and rework the first line, but it can be so helpful to read through your favorite books in the genre and see what their first lines were, but having something that has an impact of like makes you breathless or surprises the reader can be very helpful. Um, Anita asked, will you talk about the new royalties for KDP that will take effect next month? So those are already in effect, but I think a lot of people were confused about that because it was only paperbacks that were affected. But if you have any paperbacks through KDP that are $9.99 priced or less, you might want to go in and look at your royalties because they used to be 60% royalty. They changed them to 50%, but it doesn't affect ebooks. Roger said, any advice on killing off one of your darlings in your novel? I just cannot bring myself to do it. It feels like murdering one of my family. I think you have to think, is this for the greater good of the storyline? Is this what needs to happen? And it's okay to just cry and sob all the way through, because it is hard. It is so hard. And there's going to be some difficult moments in book 12 of Shadow Demon Saga. And I'm like, I don't know how I'm going to do it, but we're going to do it. I don't know if that's really any advice other than just saying, if you know it's absolutely necessary, you just have to bring your tissues and feel your way through it and get it done. Allie said, can you talk about your experience being in a mastermind group? What made you want to try it and what benefits have you found with it? If someone were to start a mastermind group of their own, what advice would you have? So the mastermind that I'm currently in is a business mastermind. It's not writers, it's business women and entrepreneurs. And that for me was important because there's so much stuff in yeah, there's so much stuff in the writer community that, people will share their advice, but I wanted to go out and get advice as well from people who are not just writers so that I could take things that are working in other pieces of business and bring it into my business. So that has been really helpful. Plus, part of the thing that I want is access to Amber McHugh. She runs the mastermind, but she's so brilliant and she makes me feel like I'm seen and she really understands me and she's such a good sounding board. So just access to the leader of the mastermind was a big reason to join. But also I have made some of my best like business friends through it. So just being with people who understand what you're going through and that really can bounce ideas. Like when you are like, oh, I'm having a problem with this. Can anybody help me? To have a group of people that can tell you what they've done to get out of that situation or to make things better is super, super helpful. I was in a mastermind for a brief time with authors. We called ourselves the Mastermind Mamas, and it was the same thing. It's like constantly running ideas by people saying, "Here's the strategy I'm thinking of," and having people refine those strategies and make it better. So, so helpful. Um, and then bouncing off that, did you take Brandon Sanderson's masterclass? I have not. I know he have an actual masterclass through the masterclass thing. If he did, I did not know that, but he has a series of videos that he's redone about plot here on YouTube, and I want to watch those. Those are on my list for sure. And then Nick said, "What are your favorite courses, affordable or otherwise, that you've taken?" It can be in any genre. Um, this is not gonna sound super relatable, but I have most of the courses that I've taken have not been super affordable. I set something out for myself starting in 2015 where I was like, "I'm going to take one big course every year, and that's gonna be my course expenditure," and most of those were like $1,000 plus. So when it comes to, like, affordable classes, it's mostly been free stuff on YouTube, like the Brandon Sanderson's videos, running through, uh books, reading books instead of just taking classes, but some of the most affordable things that I have bought have been from Andrea Crowder, which are like mindset, um, almost like pep talks that really it's all audio based, there's no videos, but if you aren't following her and you want somebody that can give you a pep talk, Andrea Crowder is amazing. Her Instagram is where she's most active, and it's at love underscore Andrea Crowder. I've talked about her before. I'm going to put it in the chat. Uh, it's this at love Andrea Crowder, and she is incredible. And she has stuff that's as low as like, I think $12, $19, where you can buy a series of kind of like pep talks, but it's much more, it's not exactly manifestation. It's rapid resolution, RRT, whatever. I forget exactly, but um, I don't know, just the way she talks has just been very, very helpful for me. But I will give it more thoughts. But I rapid answered all the questions in Discord, so I feel good about that. I will also put the slides for today in the description. So if you're watching on the replay, you should be able to grab that. It's just going to be in Canva, and I will leave it as a Canva template for you. And I will also download it as a PDF so that anybody who doesn't have Canva, but Canva is free if you want to sign up. But I'll leave it as a template and you can make a copy so that if you want to change those out and redo it for yourself, you can adjust it and redo it however you want. But again, I will miss you guys next week, unfortunately, but I will see you in 2 weeks as we get ready. And by then we'll be into 6 months for life slash what I am calling Project 49. But I'm gonna go hang out with George for his birthday, and we're gonna have a good time over here. Um, I super love you guys. I appreciate this space. I really missed you guys while I was gone. And I will see you next in 2 weeks. If you're in the Broken Chapter Society, we're probably going to do another writing sprints either Sunday or Monday. So be on the lookout for that. And yeah, I'll see some of you in Phoenix. But otherwise, have a great weekend, everybody. I love you.